Good morning, friends. Good morning. We're back. We're gonna look at the stock markets, yo. Gonna do technical analysis, yo. Rising tide. Lifting all the boats up. Every single day. You're my favorite colors. All my favorite colors. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to try and make it a bit quicker today. We did a lot of streaming yesterday. Did the morning show yesterday. And then we came back in the evening to take a look at that report that was put out by the SEC. Took 4 hours to read through it all. But we read it. If they ever ask us, did you read it? We'll say, yes, we read it. If they ever ask us, did you understand it? We'll say, yes, we understood it. And if they ever ask us, was it enough? We'll say, no, your commission never ends, SEC. Get on with it. Get on with the job. Looking for more improvements, more transparency in our markets, always protecting the retail investor, retail first, as it should be. Welcome to the show. My name's Rocky Outcrop. LFG. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Let me know you're having a good day today in the chat. Let's give ourselves 10 minutes of 10 minutes of pre-market chat. Take us through to about 17 minutes past. We'll come back. We'll come back and check in with the chat then, see how you're doing. Quicker show today. Be done within an hour or an hour and a half. Not going to stay on for longer than an hour and a half today for the sake of energies. Although I feel pretty good now that I'm here doing it. Always do. You always make me feel good. You always make me feel excellent. Thank you so much, chat. Thank you so much. Boom, let's go. There's our music. This is AFRM Holdings. We looked at this yesterday for Observe Thyself in the chat. She asked us to look and we looked. We looked at this rise up that had happened. Asked the question at the time, would we see a bull flag coming in? We drew this in here before the prices actually did any of this stuff. Then of course we went up. We talked about potential for a measured move that takes up to 158. By Jingles Boyle, we did all of that. So the positivity here in this one is pretty good. Slight decline so far today. Looks like it's going to be testing off the lower end of that, the lower end of wherever we happen to emerge at on the Ichimoku cloud potentially for us. Is that possible? It seems like there's a bit of a depth there, but it could happen. Oh, 1 minute really did end the day at that midpoint. Anyway, we're looking at other stocks as well. We've got GME. This is what was mentioned in that SEC report that came out yesterday. We spent a good deal of time talking about it. It was quite interesting in a way, and we're really grateful that the SEC is actually addressing some of these issues. That we feel as well that it was kind of like, you know, our round one, our term one, our first year report card, and there's plenty of way to go yet in terms of the battle that we would have as the retail individual investor against the machinations of those who would have us be manipulated upon and controlled. Anyway, technical analysis remains and will always be, in my opinion, our best route out of that crab bucket. Gap down below us on the GME charts at that 185.26 level. We didn't actually manage to figure that one out during the day yesterday. GME frequently gets gaps on the 1 minute time frame, and it's not something that we necessarily delve into in too much detail, but it's interesting to see gaps like this one over here getting filled in, you know, sometime later on, and they do tend to get filled in, which is kind of interesting, although you're much more likely to find ones being left behind here. 5 minute time frame on GME, we obviously were here below the cloud at this point, having a little bit of a sort of, oh, this is hard for us. Will we see the oscillations then that take us down to fill that in? It wouldn't be much of a challenge to come in. Start of the day though, I feel like things are fairly positive in terms of where we left off yesterday. Let's kind of measure this out and see how we're doing at the start here. Yeah, so they're fairly positive, but we're right below the area where we need to be at, having not managed to finish out the day there. Last two 5 minute candles showing us the way with that one. Thank you so much to the Ghost of Dan for that dono. Really appreciated. Thanks for that, Dan. Just dropping the donation without any chat. Thanks so much, man. Dan is hilarious. He's a hilarious person. Right, cool, excellent stuff. Well, that's the GME, and we're doing so well. It's doing so well. Like this movement that we've had towards the top side so far, coming in after the drop down to 180, taking us up to the mid 180s is great. The potential for us to go on up towards our targets, perhaps the 1618 in here at 192.99, is still absolutely on, and it's something that I would like to see happen during this week. AMC over here, having been positive on it, I was reading some conversation that had happened on Twitter where somebody had tagged me in it when they hadn't anyway, somebody tagged me in it, and I was reading the conversation, and during that part of the one person said, so there's another person, that they don't have any reasons to hodl AMC at the minute, etc. That they just don't really believe in the thing, you know, in a sense, just various reasons to do with, you know, how powerful MOAS can be, and they were saying that it was a value play, etc. Still, little things were confusing about it. A couple of little things I think that are worth pointing out to people. Weekly time frame here on AMC. People who talk about how it's a value play based on the fact that they think that it would go up when COVID is over and people stop sniffling and sneezing. I would invite you to look at the charts and notice how the price of AMC is in all-time highs, significantly higher than it ever has been ever in its entire lifetime, regardless of pandemics. Just something that's worth pointing out. Texas Thanker coming in and asking, can we take a look at what's that say there? EJH today. Yeah, we can take a look at EJH today. So you know, that's obviously, you know, not a debate there in terms of like value plays with post pandemics. That's the sort of thing that we're talking about back there when it was worth, you know, a few bucks, you might remember. And then of course as well, if you're interested during this period of discussion, might as well point out the January 2021 movements on AMC that happened there. That's that 300% rises, etc. that I talked about. Anyway, looking in at a bit more detail then, with regards to where we are right now, there's a few kind of structures on the go. Broader speaking, there's reasons to be holding this thing on you know, just in terms of there's an upward channel on it and it's very bullish. It's kind of obvious one, right? That's an obvious one. And then you've got another couple of obvious reasons for people who are not obvious, sorry, extremely complicated high-level technical analysis reasons that most people don't have access to understanding. But of course, you know, every single person watching this live right now, unless you're joining me here for like the first time today, actually does get this, which is crazy to think about when you think about the power then and knowledge in the community. Where there's, you know, technical reasons why we could be looking up towards 67 bucks. If you want to know more about them, I have a video all about it, which I put out a week or so ago, about the technical analysis on AMC. Is absolutely amazing. It's 29 minutes long, and it almost constitutes an entire technical analysis course in and of itself. I would highly recommend you watch it. Even if you've watched it already, I'd recommend you watch it another 4 or 5 times probably. It's quite remarkable. Typical of the sort of quality of content you see on this show. Then we have AHT, is one that, like, I like looking at this because Bam Mama Jama trades it. Bam Mama Jama is an excellent dude, and I've no problem taking a look at this one every day on the charts, because I know that there's an absolutely awesome dude out there trading this thing. But moreover, I actually like to have a wee trade off of this one myself, and I'm hoping to see this thing turn around. I've been speaking about this for a while. This is an hourly time frame. And obviously, you can see I would have spoken about it over here in the 13th and over here in the 6th and so on and so forth as well. We've not managed to do that as yet. Back down at these lows, we can see if we look at oscillators down below that we've obviously got this. This is what we spoke about then, obviously last week. Just kind of continue this on the way. You can see like there's this, we could be turning around here. I would like to see this turn around here, yada yada. This is what I expect to happen. This is the types of like flux and turmoil and turbulence you see in a market which has been heavily bearish for a long time, becoming bullish. That's how this works, and it's a painful process to go through sometimes, but it's also rewarding. Potentially today it's also rewarding, something that's like worth looking at. Then, you know, we keep checking on that all the time. Potentially today it's that day. When do people start kind of sitting up and taking notice about it? Well, that happens whenever we get up above 1420, but more realistically, to break the previous market structure from a technical analysis point of view, not the 4-hour conversation last night about Gensler and market structure and that sort of point of view, but in terms of breaking the structure within this market of what we're looking at, you know, visually with regards to our previous highs, and going up above that, that comes in at that 1460, 1470 area. And boy, oh, if we got anywhere near those zones, then it would be great. So looking for positivity on this one. We've got a couple of minutes, I guess, maybe a minute here before my thing goes beepity beep, and we go back over and I check in with the chat and see how you're all getting on this morning. I want to see that everybody in there has let me know that you're doing really well, and that you're really happy to be here and all excellent happy feelings and all the rest of it, because that's the attitude that you got to have when we're about to do 14 squats thereafter. So is there anything else that we want to talk about? There's things like AMAT. I mentioned this last night because, of course, it can pop up on this one towards the monthly time frame and talk about extremely long-term technical analysis, going back to, you know, over a number of decades with this one, and how, of course, we're at key areas with regards to the Fibonacci time zone. You know, so this is something which, like, obviously I spoke about some time ago, and it's happening in and around about this area. Interesting one for us. What can we anticipate? Well, we are obviously fairly high in this market. This is a long-term traded stock, part of the pillars of the economy in a sense, and that when you're looking at these sort of blue chip type things having an impact and you know, drawdowns in markets that can occur, then, you know, this would be an area to look to if you're looking for some significant movements over a period of time. So that's us. Going back over to chat in a second to do our squats. That's something to look forward to seeing how that plays out with, and it's a company that we have done analysis on numerous times now. Because of the way that these Fibonacci time things work, you can see that the point on this moved over to the right here. That's because of, you know, the differences that exist between looking at something on 4 hours or a day in terms of the distances between these areas on charts. Not all the days are fully traded, you know, and stuff like that. Things happen. Anyway, and the monthly and whatever, I think I was looking at monthly beforehand. Monthly closes and whatnot, it pushes the thing away. Not all months have got the same amount of days in them and so on and so forth. Anyway, yeah, right here at this point, back up, filling in that gap, that flash that we had on the charts. As well. I know we did that in the past on the way down, actually. Now we're back at that zone again. That's what happened there. Yeah, we did that one on the way down. Now we're back at that zone again. This is the pivot point. So if it wants to go well for the next while and get continuation, it is a bullish trend. It is in bullish conditions, you know, bullish conditions. Nah, it's in consolidating conditions here in the 24-hour time frame, and it has been really since April 2021. It's given people a great range to trade in with a lot of joy there. You know, movements between 124 up to 144, giving us that joy every single time. Now, the time before last, it was at 144. We dropped down all the way to 123. We talked about it, the potential for coming up here to 145. What it would take to get movement and follow through, and it didn't get that. So just looking at this again, if we do come up towards these top areas, we are looking to get a push into the bullish control zone. We are looking to get you know, continuation and higher highs in the MACD. We are looking to have, of course, the ADX manage to make its way up above 25. It did, you know, hasn't actually done that. Looking back to the, you know, April over here, it's been below 25 the entire time. AMAT over here giving us like that TA confirmation that this is, of course, exactly how things work. So Yeah, so these are sorts of things that we want to see happening if we are actually going to get continuation of a trend up the way. Otherwise, looking for movements down the way, we could actually see this thing go up above 25 for the first time since April. If we did that at the same time as taking out any sort of market structure areas, again from a technical analysis point of view, then we would be highly concerned about that. This is still a fairly broad look at things, going back all the way to the pandemic crash and bringing it up to the highs that we've had since. And bearing in mind that a test down as low as 106 is completely conceivable. But if we were to go on and do a full kind of big movement down the way, we could be looking to 1618 to finish this and flesh this story out. Then if we were to get bearish on this one and we're looking back up the way, what does this look like whenever it does these big movements up and down over here? What's this kind of like? What's this kind of like? Could we be looking there? Could that happen for us in the next wee while, coming back for recovery at this point before continuing on up the way, looking for a June 27? Actually, no, that'd be way too long. It doesn't go down for that long. In fact, going down maybe to test in at this sort of a stage here before moving back up the way, maybe trending down the way till about February. Could that happen? Could that happen with this thing? Well, if it starts here and it goes off the way, then you know, like, this is how you would come up with these sorts of assessments. Right. So that's a significant portion of the work done for today, actually, even before the markets have opened, which is nice. We're not done with the enthusiasm and the hype and the body and the blood pumping and flowing and all that. So we're going to do that in a second. I'll read the chat and catch up with you first and see how that's getting on, and then we will take a look at the squats, and then we'll do market open, and then we'll do HJF or whatever it was called, EJH. And just took a note so I wouldn't forget it. So how he's doing then? Evening all, says 3-day Benki earlier on. I'll only have that on top chat. I'll only be seeing all the chat here. I can catch up with you all. Good to see you, by the way. Good morning to you if you're in the States. Good afternoon in Europe. Good evening in Asia. Good evening, Ben. Therefore, and Katie Babes, good to see you here. Katie Ocharka, 70 watch, 57 like, many like, Fanny. Yes, brick by like, people, brick by like. Buckle the like button. Hi Ben, says Tradespawn. Ghost of Dan is chatting to KT in there as well. That's cool. Casey, good to see you. Lumber futures to the moon. Is that you've been saying that for a wee while, haven't you? Kirsty Callahan, thanks so much for telling people about the Patreon in there. That's appreciated. And of course, to join the Discord. That's correct. If you actually want a free stock, if you're in the UK, you can get one in the link below. If you want to get access to TradingView and get the free trial and the discount and all that comes along with it, link in the description down below for that too. That's where I do my trading chat platform stuff. So these sorts of things are down there. If you want to use them, I'd be grateful, I guess. Morning peeps, good to see you, Shakar. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a nice birthday the other day. Thanks so much for having us along, providing the soundtrack. Simone, way, how you doing? Minner, it's from Rocky himself, Sky. He'll probably turn it on in 15 minutes. What was that? Was that all before I actually started the show? Well, whatevs. Right, cool. Simone, I do it too. It's sunny. Interesting. Right, great. So, 1, leave this song on to Barbie World. Those are our options. Ooh, Barbie World. It's a good choice, that one. Oh, it's a tough one. Oh. Yeah, his mic seems a little quieter than usual this morning. Does it? Sorry, there it's a little bit louder than it was before. Thanks for letting me know there, appreciated. Maybe that's a little bit louder. It's a tiny marginal difference, but I'll fix my audio up and stuff. I just need to get back on track, right? Doing brilliant, says KP. Thanks so much for that. Everybody in here doing well. Thanks, great, excellent to see it. Good morning, peoples. Good morning, Dirty Jar. Good morning, Alex. Good morning, O there. Good morning, Sky. Good morning, King 8. Barbie World for the win, says Sky. So there you go. Mike is much better now. Thanks for that. That was perfect. Thanks. Just that a little difference, a little bit of a difference makes. Thanks so much. Yeah, great, brilliant. Thank you. Hit like or Rocky will throw a rock at your window or at you Canadians or Canadians while you're out licking maple trees. It's very true. The threats have been issued. You know that I'm coming for you if you don't hit that like button. By the way, after all this chat with this thing, it would be ideal if it did want to pull that down the way that it would only do it to something like a 382. Oh, I'm not on the screen anymore. Ah, well, you just don't need to see it. I'll just look at myself. You just don't need the technical analysis on this thing. What? Hey, no. Just me here. Yeah, exactly. You're looking at, this is typical stuff. We're looking for the 382 if it does pull back down the way. And that would be coming in at, by the way, for people, either 45, either 50 bucks. That's you know, $90 off the price from 140, but more likely and more conceivably to be coming in for sort of $88, you know, $50 off the price. Huge stuff, right, on one of these big ones. So that would be the feeling that people would have with regards to economic, like a recession. Okay, so that's one of those recession ones that I'd be looking at in a sense. Oh, I've still not got the charts up. Wow, look at that jar. It looks so awesome, doesn't it? Should just leave it, never empty it. Let's do some squats. It's 25 past. By the time we've done the squats, we'll be ready right there. Blood pumping, blood flowing, heart beating, ready for the markets to open. Simone says, I'm going to go have breakfast. I'll be back after everybody says and what music they want to listen to. Katie Papes want the ticker bingo tune on repeat. Ronaldo sent me a shorter version of the music actually as well. I wonder if that's if I would use that or not. I quite like the 17-second long version when I'm actually getting up and going to the machine. It gives me time to get there. Let's squat. Get up. $14 squats coming up. Engage all your muscles. Think about your core. Activate your core. Why do I do the squats? Because I'm trying to improve my life little by little, similar to the reasons why you tune in here. Try and hold your squats from time to time. Be sure to squeeze that bum on your way back up. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Make this last one a good one. Ashley says perfect timing for the squats. Good morning. Good morning to you too, Ashley. It's very good to see you. Thanks for joining me. Whoa! Okay. It's not easy, but the good things in life rarely are. Back to technical analysis. It's another good thing in life. Thanks for joining me. Markets going to open up in 2 minutes. Let's check in with the pre-market prices of some of our favorite stocks and see how the world is getting on. Thanks for joining me. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. This is Rocky Outcrop. You're in the right place. Back in the charts then, peeps. GME. Oh, this should be a bit wider, should it? It should probably be a bit wider. You don't need that info up on the right. Right, cool. Markets will be open up in a minute and a half or so. Currently, GME is $2 above where it ended the day yesterday. Interesting. Positive start to the day. Will we see us get a nice little bit of a run on today? Where does 88 take us into? You can see well above the cloud, well above the 236. Ending the day yesterday doing not just enough, but in a sense, it's done enough for labeling out where you would like to see the prices stay above for a valid Fibonacci retracement to still be in place. And that would be repeating back down to there for us. That would, of course, form a lower high if it would be the case, and then a higher low thereafter, bringing us in for a bit of a triangle consolidation. Could this be what comes up here for us? What would that actually look like? It would actually look more like that. So is this going to be the outcome? Well, actually, no. I don't know. That's pretty good. It's high. You see, it's there. It's going to be. If we can close 5 minutes out above here, then obviously that's the higher high immediately. It'll be interesting to see the dynamics at the start of the market here with regards to this operating within that wedge. Obviously, it's a wick on the 5 minute. It'll be higher on 1 minute and stuff. The body close. AMC pre-market then. How's it getting on? Just about to open. It is open. Or it's opening right this second. In fact, this is second. Boom. So it opened up without a gap. So interesting stuff on AMC, operating right there. Drag yourself up out that cloud, buddy. Drag yourself out of that cloud. Do it. Do it. What was my sort of chat at the start of the day? We might be coming back down to visit the lower end of that cloud. Did I say that? I think I said that. But I'm not 100% sure if I said that or not. This is a nice little bit of consolidation. Same chat as what we've had previously. Might as well just kind of hammer this home again. Here's our high. Consolidation's been happening at around about the 236 so far. We are happy enough to stay bullish on this in the most simplistic of ways of looking at it, in terms of taking extremely complicated ideas and applying them in the right way at the right time in the most simplistic way. Then you can stay bullish on this one for sure. Any movement down the way, I'd say a 382 retracement down to the cloud here at 42.20 would be my buy price on it if I was looking for that. With regards to kind of this little consolidation, what's not perfect about this is it's kind of sideways, more than that sort of thing. In terms of like, it would have been had it just gone up from there, but it didn't happen. Anyway, that's that. Started open, markets open. GME, how are you doing? This is what we wanted to see, the excitement. Oh, we had a bit of a dip straight away with the result of that, but we're still up there. It's positive at the minute, you know, in terms of like being higher than our previous highs. This 15-minute time frame, you see this lower body here. We're asking questions as to the 5-minute time frame and whether or not we'd close up above this one, and that would require, you know, this type of doji or a positive body closing down below it. I feel like, you know, it's just like that's the question for us right now. 1 minute time frame, just to make that comparison, it actually is higher on the 1 minute time frame, that body close. So, you know, you're not getting it there. Obviously there's a conflict between where higher highs and higher lows if you're looking across different time frames and you're looking at the bodies and the wicks and asking questions about where the closing price was. But on such a small term time frame thing, then, you know, you're gonna create conflict for yourself. You can narrow that down a wee bit by saying where did those come in at? For instance, if this body closure here came in close towards the end of the hour, as we see here is the hourly close one, then you can tell in a sense maybe where your hour body candle closed at. So I go up to the hour chart here and you can see that there was that good movement up. So you get like an idea of saying, well, this is where the significant zone is. But anyway, right now looking fairly good for this kind of positivity. Big pullback, but didn't fill in the gap as well. It's just interesting. Oh yes, there we go. There we go, 190. This is perfect so far. Wonderful start to the day. Post SEC happy days chat. A lot of people are interpreting that document as if to say that the shorts didn't cover is the thing, or whatever is like the takeaway from it. The shorts still haven't covered. Buy and hodl. That would have saved me 4 hours last night had I just talked about that. Just kidding. That was well spent time. It's our duty, it's our responsibility. They wrote it for us. We'll do them the respect of reading it and understanding it and taking our time to do it properly, and that's what we did because we respect the markets. We don't piss about with stuff like that. Normally that's the sort of thing that I would have done off camera. It would have taken me a bit less time, obviously. It was the sort of thing I would normally do off camera, you know, but I decided to do that there because it's doing those sorts of things from time to time, whether it's an earnings call or it's a new rule, piece of legislation that comes out or something like that. There's a fairly good chance of saving people a number of days, weeks, maybe even, for some people months of misinterpretation. So that's like on the very day that the NFT website was released, we went onto the website and explained then all about how, you know, stuff would be happening. This is months before Bastille Day even, and of course that was July, and we're now months after that. So we've explained all of that at the time. Saves people months. So we're still waiting to see. This is obviously very positive. I like what I see here. I'm going to have to ask questions about whether or not we fill in that gap. Maybe worth checking on the DMI flash, and there is one down there. Back on. So the camera might be back on at this point. Streaming live, might not be. I'm going to have to just hazard a guess at it, or whatever you would say. I just have to just go with it. The music's not playing though. The charts are still dancing though. Everything's still going. Everybody's still alive in the world. I think I am back. I think I'm back. I'm going to be positive with it. I'm back. No problem there. Slight interruption to our services. If you're using the current timer to work out the clock there, work out how far into the video we are for chapters, that system will be broken now. Because of the little sort of minute that took place there of interruption. Excuse me. Thank you for being patient. I really do appreciate it. Please let YouTube know that you're not too upset by that by hitting the like button if you haven't already. Okay, cool. So we're aiming up to 193. We just have to say that that's where we're aiming for. Things are very good today, very positive so far. Really love to see it. I want to check in with AHT. Woof, big push down and up again today. Oh wow, giving people that entry, right? Wow, pushing off straight away down, woof and up, woof, 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 woof. Well, that's cool. I guess that's us done with that one then. This is one of the, this movement here. Take out the highs of these candles here, and this is just going to look like a simple little sort of whiplash. One of those nice little market maker whiplashes that turns into a doji on a bigger candle. A doji then ends up being at the bottom of a range that then ends up having bullish engulfing candles and possibly 3 white soldiers or something like that falling on afterwards. A nice rise up towards $14 and then continuation on afterwards. That would be ideal. And I'm basing that off of just the simple premise of what is this? And it's just like that typical kind of whiplash that you see around an area like this. Lovely jubbly, really kind of just like pushing people with a few percent here and there at the start of the day. Don't know. You wonder where the short side liquidity comes from in areas like this, and I have to imagine that it was some sort of short side liquidity came in to try and generate income from themselves, generate volume. Where's my volume at? Actually, wait a minute. So this liquidity here, it's maybe allowed them to pick up some more orders than they otherwise would have by forcing the play like that. It's an interesting one. Wait, where did the market start as well? They opened up here without the gap as well and just pushed on down. So strange volatility. Don't know. No, it's just an unusual artifact at the start of the day, which is nice to see and doesn't actually leave me in a negative position with regards to this one. And how I'm thinking about it. I know that it's negative at the start of the day today. I know that it is. I'm not blind to it, by the way. I can see here in the 15-minute candle and all the rest of it. But what my general thesis is here is that I'm hoping for a turnaround here, and this type of volatility or this type of turbulence at a turnaround area isn't, shock horror type of stuff for us. And what else is there to look at? There's been things that we could look at, like Newegg, right? Newegg is one. Actually, no, somebody asked for something. EJH 40 past. Gonna just hit the timing button so I don't stay on doing anything. I don't stay at it for too long at any given time. So this is a stock called E-Home Household Service Holdings Limited. E-Home Household Service Holdings Limited. Oof. Oh, that's a good one. KT, you watching? There you go. Let's add this to your list of readybacks. E-Home Household Service Holdings Limited. It's not that hard. Say it fast 10 times. Yeah, nice little consolidation phase in here that's happening. So I'm just what's going on in my head right now as I'm looking at this. I'm aware that I'm on a 5-minute time frame and that I really kind of should have moved up a time frame. But I like seeing the actually don't want the Ichimoku cloud on there. It's a bit of a distraction. I like seeing the kind of the way that the range works in this. Being aware that here in the 5-minute time frame that we're seeing facets like this, where we're getting a big range here in that area, and it's not necessarily uncommon to have volatility here, which is actually straddled either side by larger movements, right? As you can see here. So when I go up at this stage immediately to something like the 4-hour or the 12-hour, just like we'll start on the 4-hour since it's more visible. I say as I hide the screen behind my charts. It wouldn't be a Rocky Outcrop show if I didn't move the charts. Try to move the charts at least once without that sort of thing in my hand. As I go up to the 4 hour time frame, you can see this is just like a few dojis and whatever with the whiplash, but it hides that little dynamic. And I just wanted to see how this thing goes. 4 hour time frame as well. You can see that these big movements in the past, big movements here, and then loads of sideways where it's just ranging, and then on the 5 minute time frame. All that out. You see, there's these movements, and it's kind of, you know, it's just like getting an idea of a chart that I've never looked at before, right? And that was me saying that I anticipated when I'm looking at this in the 5 minute time frame that there'd be that sort of a thing, and I just wanted to see it with the detail on as I look back, because I wanted to see where are we looking back relatively with the detail at the same time, which is why I had the 5 minute time frame to do that. Although that's not typically the way I would do things. You can see there's a gap here on the 20th of September, 21, 17th September, something like that, in that area there. It's visible as well on like the other time frames, isn't it? Yes, it is. And we're so close to that area, not quite there yet. Consolidating right here at like the you know, look, if this is your diving board, as we talked about so many times in the past, down to here, and we can see that we're consolidating here at what, 786, not quite at the 886. This movement would take us potentially, you know, this type of distance, up again past our previous high. I didn't need to measure that accurately, just wanted to show you that we're going up, we could go back up past our previous high. So that's if the bullishness continues. Little things to note then, we've got the volume diminishing, and that's happening during this phase of consolidation. On the way up to this point, during this phase of trending action, we can see the volume increasing. So if there was 2 boxes that you had to put into the consolidation volume, trend volume, then we can take all of the rising volume when it's rising, pop into the trending volume category, then all of the diminishing volume when it's diminishing, and stick it into the consolidating category. And then we can at least say, well, look, okay, so it does seem to be that the volume is kind of rising, and overall at this point when we're trending up the way so far, which has been following on from a massive downward trend, and we have got a couple of points of note. So here a high followed by a bearishly divergent high, no, a bullishly convergent one, fine. This looks to be shaping up the classic trending consolidation of the RSI. That's probably what we're in for here. You know, or conceivably in this region, it's conceivable. Do we need to see the stochastics pull down a little bit or not here? Kind of, you know, finding it's like it's got this little contraction happening just here as it like looking to see if it can turn around. That's that what does that mean right now? Have we got some movement on the go actually? Not much. 1 hour time frame. No, not much movement happening really. Still within the range. So you know, if we're able to push down past that point when it's low, then this will push the stochastics lower because we're taking out the previous lows. Remember when we talked about the stochastics and how that works? There's a video I think on the education channel, probably, maybe not, about that education playlist, about that. I can't remember now. But remember we talked about stochastics and how it's taking out the calculation is comparing it to the previous highs and lows over a period of time, not the previous candle's high and the previous candle's low, but a series of candles over a period of time. We're halfway through. We've done this for 5 minutes so far. I'll do it for another 5 minutes. A little education bit in the meantime. Kind of addicted to doing education, it seems. So we were talking about that and how then obviously then at this phase here, if we're to be closing down lower, then we'd be pushing the stochastics down lower. And as this is going on, you know, this is giving us a chance to turn around here close to the neutral line, you know, as opposed to kind of turning around down here. So the anchor point would push up the way. The anchor in this thing would push up the way. If we get across just here, then it'd be crossing over just there, and it has the chance to turn around. So it has the chance to do very well. 5 minute time frame. You're looking at this and saying it's bearishly divergent during consolidation. You could do. I wouldn't like to do so myself. If you were to do so, you'd have to acknowledge the hidden bullish divergence. Then it's at the lower side, therefore kind of rendering your debate moot. So during that consolidation phase, just waiting to see if we break above the highs or the lows of the range. Easy to manage your trades in this region. You can see there's this channel here. I'm just going to hide all the drawings real quick and show you though that it's dead easy to look at it. You know, taking out these lows down below here, not worth being in the trade. Taking out these highs up here, very much worth holding on to your winners. Looking at the you know, at the point of which we're actually pushing past the gap here, then going up to fill in the gap is very, very conceivable, and that's a big chunk in itself. So this consolidation that's happening here just below that area is the fuel going into the rocket ship for people who want to take advantage of that move up above. And how would we be able to say that that's how we know that that's the case? Well, let's just look at price elasticity then to figure that out in this area here, and say, well, if this is the high and this is the subsequent low kind of coming in just there, and that's your elasticity, and we pop this up here, where does it take us to? And it takes us up to fill in this gap, doesn't it? So we know that that's what the people would be looking at during this phase of consolidation, and that's why it's happening here, and that's how this is constructed, and why the prices are operating here in the way that they're operating. There is obviously a degree of sort of 50-50 about this one. It's easy to then conduct yourself in the markets managing your risk. Would I like to short it from here? No, not personally. No, not really. We are right at the edge of the bearish control zone, sure, but we're not in it, and we're not being in a bearish controlled area. Bears are not in control of this market right now. I mean, they might be in control from a broader point of view, they might well be, but what's happening just here is they're taking their foot off the gas at the meantime, and it's been consolidating with areas of bullishness. I do feel like there's a chance for it to then move up the way, do this sort of thing that I was talking about on the 1 hour time frame on the RSI, on the 4 hour time frame, just kind of looking for this to kind of crack into and recess from the bullish control zone and around about that zone there. On the 24 hour time frame, looking for this to actually come up here and try and, you know, actually do something which is different to what it's been doing in its lifetime so far, which has really just been in the dump phase from the IPO and insiders on this one dumping onto the market since it started. And that's what's happened since this thing kicked off in May 2021. It's been people getting dumped on. So there you go. Looking to see if that'll turn around, and in full acknowledgement of the fact that this has been so far a downward trend with people just getting dumped on. So what we're looking for then is for on the 1 hour time frame, it might be hiding that, is for this to have a V-shaped recovery, for that to work out, and for us to be able to defeat the market structure of the downward side movements. And that requires us taking out that gap and follow through, not just the gap, because the gap on its own, which is obviously the next play, and that's when your risk profile changes, is to take out that's the gap. That doesn't take out any market structure. Moving just a bit past the gap is where the bigger risk area happens, and the reason for that is because, of course, well, the gap itself and typical understanding of it, but also because of the significance of the market structure of pushing our prices up past that area. Even if they then drop down the way, it forms the classic head and shoulders. If it were to be a head and shoulder here, looking at that as a potential sort of retrace area up the way, classic turnarounds. This reminds me of the naked chart as we come to the end of that section. Thanks so much, by the way, for having suggested that one, Texas Thanker, and hopefully that was of some assistance to you. Here is Naked, Doom, nice one, nice movements up the way. Oh, 95, so good. Back to 65 again. Wow, fantastic stuff. Islands in the stream, nothing in between. This is who we are. We are islands, but we've covered that with this drop back down, and now we can move on upwards. Oh yeah, having filled in the gap at 61. Yeah. Oh no, Jamie's calling me. This means I'm not streaming probably. Let me just check. It does seem to be live over there. Hello. Oh, that's the thingy. All right. Okay, bye. That was very handy phone call from Jimmy telling me about I've got a big chunk of white stuff on the chart, so I'll remove that in a minute. It doesn't actually affect anything just now. So here's this naked. If we actually do take out 68, 67, 68, 69, that's the way to go. Looking forward for that happening. That'll be good. At the minute, this sort of little tiny double bottom aspect on the 1 hour time frame, right in there with a bit of the. Is that actually how do these closes go? This is looking at this as an upward trend. This being the current hour. So yeah, closing where we are right now is ever so slightly lower. Closing ever so slightly higher by just a fraction of a fraction. Let's just see, up at 66.30 would be hitting bullish divergence on the 1 hour time frame. That would be nice to see, but we're not. This is negative. This is negative in the pullback, but I'm looking for this to turn around. I don't know. 236 is where I'd be looking for overall, mostly on that front. So when my internet went off there and back on, it broke the comments thing down below. That's no big deal. I'll get it working in again in a second. Just let me log into the broadcast thing. So where is that? Boop, boop. Enter studio. This will go away in a second. That light box. Enter studio. Cool. Nice one. Doodle-doo. Doodle-doo. Yeah. Okay, cool. Lol, thanks for trying, Jimmy, says Sal. Yes, excellent. Jimmy tried. He tried good. It's not a top video or clip when it has big issues, Rocky Outcrop. Nobody makes clips, Jimmy. That's cool and everything, but yeah, no, excellent stuff. But stop. Don't call me right now. It's not appreciated. Thanks very much, though. But the intentions are, but the outcome isn't. So great, excellent stuff. Right, well, that's cool. That takes us to 2:52. We've got either 8 minutes left on the show or 38 minutes left on the show. So let me know what you're thinking. I'm feeling like it's probably 8 minutes that's left on the show right now. If you want me to take a look at anything, then let me know. That'd be cool. That'd be excellent. And that'd be cool. No, 190 on GME. Well, let's go back over to GME for a bit. Wow, great stuff. So this 5-minute thing, how did the 5-minute kind of discussion that we had work out here with this one? We see here, we talked about this at the start of the day. The day started off 5-minute time frame here. We did actually push down, didn't close lower in the end than the one that we're talking about in terms of our high. We moved up the way and then back down. We're at this area again, but we got that follow through. The follow through was based off of our closing out the 5-minute time frame at the start of the day above the 5-minute over here. We had different other ways of looking at it. We could have said you could look at it in the 15-minute time frame and compare it to this high, but of course that was a good deal lower and wasn't necessarily the one I think that it was operating on. We said that you could have compared it to the 1-minute time frame over here, but there was this flux that was happening at the very start of the day and the extreme volatility at the start of the day. You could have made comparisons to the other time frames, like the 3-minute time frame, where you do see it lines up pretty nicely. So it's not like it's like there's some sort of holy grail aspect of it, but we were looking at in the 5-minute time frame, and that was fairly nice. Maintaining this area is pretty good and everything, but and would be lovely to see happen. Just to line this up and see, you know, where we are with regards to the movements around the way. If we did drop down, then that would be an 886 to come back to filling in that gap. Incidentally, right, cool. That's where we are with this one. So that's cool to see that the start of the day TA worked out fairly nicely. Stochastics turning around at the minute. Could we have that bit of a pullback coming in? Well, you know, the fact of the matter is, I've talked about this a whole lot of times recently. So long as we're below this, I would say then at this stage, the 190.5, then of course it's a struggle. But getting back above 190.5 immediately brings our attention back to 193. Our high so far today of 192, which is quite nice because it opened up the day at 188 with the principle of trying to understand whether or not we'd be aiming towards 193. And I think we covered off that lesson fairly nicely. Over here on AMC then, how's that getting on? Similar looking sort of price action in a sense, which is kind of nice then, and we can make the same sort of simple comparison based off of that up to the highs over there. As you can see, we're consolidating just below that 236, so we want to see the prices moving up above 44.05. But where did the high come in at? Well, lo and behold, wasn't it 44.44? Well, we've talked about 44.44 for some time, aiming to all the fours. Very, very good. Well done to everybody who traded that with me along the way. You did a very excellent job bringing in a higher time frame so we can see where exactly this is, what the result of this is so far with these movements. As you can see over here, we filled in that gap and we also went exactly to that 44.44 price point that we were talking about. So we've done very, very, very well, moved up at this rate. At this stage, if we were to see a pullback happening, pulling us back down to somewhere, where could it be at? Where would you look for that to come to? And how would that go through for us? Well, I could predict this, but I'll not. And I'll not tell you. But I can tell you that all of the information that you need to be able to work that out is absolutely in the education that I give out every single day. So be sure to tune in for that. If I was going to, you know, do that right now and do that education and do that predictive stuff right now, it would be cool. It'd be really cool as fuck, wouldn't it? Everybody out there would think it was awesome. It would be really awesome. So we'll just move on though. AHT over here, looking all, I mean, what can I say about this thing that I haven't already said? At the minute, so long as it's doing poorly, it's doing poorly, right? This whipsaw action that's happening here and the turbulence that we're seeing could be a sign that we're in an area to turn around at. We haven't actually taken out these lows in terms of closures that we had on the left. This is still overall as part of this upward trend. Looking back the way there was these lows, and then there was these lows, and now there's these lows. At this area, there was volatility, turbulence. At this area, there was volatility and turbulence. At this area, there is volatility and turbulence. I'm looking for this to have a positive resurgence. It could start happening as we speak. That's us at 257. Just check in with the chat and see if anybody, how everybody's doing. I can see as well after my stream stopped working earlier that the chat over here on YouTube stopped loading up, which led to people not being able to get in touch with me when they wanted to, which is, well, just how these things go sometimes. That thing's moving. What's the rush to work or get off stream, Rocky Outcrop? Oh, just because, all right. Well, yeah, maybe I'll just leave it on for a bit. Things are moving. Yeah, I can leave it on for a bit. I can leave it on for a bit. Well, currently we've got 2 minutes and 24 seconds left before the price for the prices to move back up to 1343. Should we say 1342? It says 1342 at the minute, but we need to move up to 1343. Really, I suppose. Basing it on the imperatives that I was kind of pointing out of us closing up above this other one. It doesn't actually change the way that none of this really changes the way that I feel about this thing right now with regards to where we are. I just want to show you how this kind of pans out for me right here. Is that we've had this downward movement in this region, and I don't think this is a realistic range to look to for the downward side. I don't think it's realistic to look like that. It could happen where it goes down to 967, and that would be, I mean, it is realistic, it is conceivable, realistic, and all that rest of the stuff. Realistic was a really bad word to use right there, especially to have repeated it twice. But I'm not thinking that this is what we're on for, although this would be one interpretation of how we're looking at things right now. So I'm not blind to the different aspects of things. I do think it's really important that we stay above this area, but when I'm calling this on the smaller time frames, like go down to the 15 minutes or something, or the 5 minutes or whatever, and I'm talking about how there's this low, and this low, and they're higher lows, and yada yada, and how we want it to close up above that region in the next 46 seconds, and it's a couple of cents below it just now. Really, on the 1 hour time frame, I'm looking back the way and saying that there's this whole zone here, and that the zone can go down as low as like 13, 14, up as high as whatever. We've had movements all the way down to $13 and all that sort of stuff. It's all in this zone where the volatility happens. I'm just very aware, over the last 2 thrusts and then this one, how this is coming into these areas here and finding it getting pushed back up the way. As we closed out that candle at the number that we needed to close that candle out at. So that was very good. Well done to it, I do believe, right? Is that right? Just here, 4 seconds, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 13.43. So there you have it. So, I mean, there's me talking about the prices down to the very penny and all that. So that's the reasoning behind that. I can add more to this reasoning and this, in the sense of the bullish divergence that's happening here, whether it's class B or whatever you want to talk about. You can find it on the time frame that will suit your heart's desire for whatever it is that you're looking at. It's quite clearly a diminishing lack of strength as it hits off these lows. Now, again, you could talk about things like during this phase here, how there's that hidden bearish divergence in there. And then as well, you might want to look at this, and this is the 1 hour time frame, but I'm sure you could find, in a sense, head and shoulders in there. It wouldn't be how head and shoulders work. You don't get them at the bottom of ranges for that. They're not continuation patterns, etc. If you're looking at this area instead, you're kind of talking about the triple bottom and the descending triangles, etc. that you could have on the go here. and I'm looking at it saying that there's just not that downward push and pressure. However, if there were to be one, then I would look for an entry down there at sort of somewhere towards the 1220 area, naturally, where we had our last low, just somewhere towards that region. And we're not there just now. Instead, I'm actually looking for this to turn around, and that's why this offers up a fantastic opportunity right here, right now. It's just a matter of whether or not you're able to cope with this job. You know, I mean, are you able to do it? Like, and the type of mentality that you need when you're trading to be successful and all that is to be able to operate in a market where you're able to make these sorts of decisions on the fly as it is right now, and be okay with it. You know, like, you know, understanding that the conditions are obviously difficult, and that's what you need to have, right? Okay, so we're 3 minutes past 2. I'll stay on for the next 28 minutes. The answer, by the way, is because hence radio idea, no need to answer. Yeah, that was right. The staying on for a bit longer is I'll stay until 30:30, but it's because yesterday I came back and did a 4.5 hour long show up until 3 a.m. in the morning, talking about the SEC report. I went to bed, woke up, had a shower, had something to eat, and then an hour later, I'm on doing a broadcast, talking to people live on the internet again for hours. And that's the reason why. Also, time discipline is important, and people kind of respecting the sort of the value of the time that I have here is it's incredible, and they should make the maximum use of it, because I won't necessarily just sit here and wait until, like, you know, that they're ready to adapt, as we see the prices of AHT jumping towards the top side here. And this is precisely the type of attitude that I'm demonstrating that you would need to have if you want to be, you know, quite successful in the thing. Now, you don't need to have this, but you would want to have it, surely. This is the ideal attitude to have, to be able to look at the price action moving like that and kind of make these assessments at the time, and to be kind of, you know, clear-headed about it and not have your emotions affect how you're thinking. Now, obviously, we need to see follow-through, right? We need to see follow-through. We need to, by follow-through, what do I mean in any given sense? I really don't care. It's kind of your own interpretation of it. Follow-through in terms of, like, just taking out that area there would be a good start, if that's what you're talking about. Follow-through would be taking out over here, taking out our wick we just put in of this candle would just be follow through, you know, getting that. Follow through could be down here on the 1 minute time frame, getting those 3 white soldiers, you know, and then actually not pulling back down past any market structure and getting continuation thereafter, unlike the sort of the ones that happened over there. Those are all these things constitute like the follow through, and that's what we're looking for on that front as we are up here challenging this level right here, right now. Another reason why I would have got off before, you know, just as speaking there, is if I had gone away, I would have been able to trade this move here myself and actually, you know, and benefit from my own technical analysis on a financial level, as opposed to just simply benefiting other people. Because what actually happens here is I'm a professional real life trader who's come onto YouTube to help people and create a rising tide, and to actually create a new community and society of people who are actually going to go out there and change the world. That's what I'm doing here. It's a massive mission, but my time is extremely valuable, and when I spend it here minute by minute, I'm not doing it and not doing other things. And after in a 24-hour period where I spent 2 hours live streaming, 4.5 hours live streaming, back on again, and in between times did moderating in TradeSpotting's chat for what, 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever it was. It's a lot of time. It adds up to a lot of time, because you are actually only awake for 16 hours of a day, and that's all of that is gone on this. So those are the reasons, right? So anyway, Jimmy, man, don't be saying that in my chat to people. I don't want to have that conversation on live stream. Right here, right now, doing okay. Now this is us enacting follow through. Actually, we'll go often on this chart for a while, because it's like when you do the minute by minute thing, then you're inclined to kind of, I mean, I start off. What happens with me is I start off on a larger time frame and I break it down really comprehensively, and then I go into a smaller time frame and I break that down comprehensively. Then I go into a smaller time frame and I break that down comprehensively. So you know exactly where you're going across a series of time frames along the way. Then I go down to a lower time frame and I break that down comprehensively, and then I kind of need to move away from the chart because I've explained all of this in such amount of detail all the way down to the small term time frame. I need to go to a different chart now because I've done really well on that front. So is there anything that anybody actually really wants to take a look at? Rocky Aircraft, thanks for double stream yesterday. You're appreciated. Oh, I totally know that. It's massive, massive, massive. No. Nobody's taking up too much of my time. It's all good. Nobody's taking up too much of my time. Don't be worried. I'm not. So anyway, yeah. $13.62 on AHT, currently up above the 236, and Love and Life. We're going to go to take a look at a different chart because this is doing very, very well, and I'm not proactively trading this risk myself right now. And in terms of this particular move right here, right now, and as it stands, nobody so far in the chat has been doing it either or anything like that. So I'm just going to take a look at another one. Maybe I'll bring up a stock screener or something like that. Whoops. There it is. Let's go and see what's got the most volume on the chart today at the minute. This is a stock screener that's available through TradingView at the bottom of the page. Something that I should talk about, I suppose, from time to time. Sort of thing I've been kind of leaving for other people to maybe talk about a wee bit with regards to what we're setting up on the show. I thought so maybe FU and stuff like that would be putting out videos about this sort of thing, but I'll integrate it into my own show as well. I can see volume here, start of the day here, 84.28 million on Prog, so Progenity Inc. Let's go take a look at Prog and see what it's got on the go. Now, it's quite likely that these things are not necessarily actually, for us to be trading right here necessarily, but we can take a look and see what's going on. Interesting that, isn't it? Oops, wouldn't be a Rocky Outcrop show if I didn't do that. Failure at this point, looking for continuation down the way. This is the reason. This is the region to look to. It's kind of obvious with this wick here and with this wicky action at the top. It's kind of obvious that that as well when you look at the way that this market is controlled. You can see it like it's got a signature on it here. Once, twice, 3 times, well, 4 times. You could do it here 5 times. This candle in and of itself is actually quite similar to that, but we'll look to those 2 examples of it, and that's there as well. So what would I do? Well, I'd be very happy. I'd have been very happy in that moment looking at that chart right there and then to have shorted it, managing my risk right on that line, just exactly there. Just in terms of the short term, then what would I be aiming to? Well, the gap fill. If we go down here and actually struggle, then the 382 is the next one. Now this could easily go up, all right? It could easily go up. It's not a problem. If it does, I'd happily short out on that. I'd stop out on that one. It would not be a problem. But there we go. That's where that's happening right now. Nice start to the day on this thing. Nice little kind of thing. So it's got an island just here. The rest of them get filled in if there ever is any gaps to look to. Where are we at in the 1 hour time? This is looking at a chart that I've never looked at before, not checked into the oscillators and not doing anything else as well, just simply as a first glance. I would like to, if I were to actually be trading this, to get for more confluence and other signals elsewhere. And if anybody, by the way, I'm not angry today. I'm just really tired, right? Really tired because of what I explained there. I explained it quite comprehensively. I was doing a lot yesterday, and I'm very tired as a result today, which means that I've not got much tolerance for things that which are not like smoothing my way, making it a buttery, slippery ride. I'm just gonna do everything within my wheelhouse and just keep it simple. So yeah, looking at that so far, that's quite nice. How did we get on with that one? Oh, great! Yet another nice bit of TA so far. Well, I mean, in terms of the risk management of that particular zone and how you would do it, you'd be sat in a profitable trade here. You could convert that over to a trailing stop loss or something like that if you liked. Boom, another home run from Rocky. It just doesn't stop. Oh, we failed here at the 236 to get that follow through that I was talking about. So in terms of the immediacy of things, so that's okay. That's fine. Just popping back down below here. So that's totally fine. Where are we then? How did this look here? Oh, aye, nice bullish divergence at that low. Good one. Not managing to take out our previous high. Okay. And right at this line again. Well, this is the dance. The dance is happening here. Nice little dance around this line. It's the Highland dance. You ever see these Highland dancers? Did you ever see them? There's a Scottish dancing thing. It's quite cultural thing. Look at the way they look. It's kind of like the Irish dancing, but much more colourful, much more positive and upbeat. One of the rules with Irish dancing is you're not allowed to move your arms. Right? It's quite strange. It's all about your feet. Highland dancing's got all the arm stuff on the go as well. I think it's lovely stuff. Anyway, one of the things that they do here is that they dance, as you can see with this picture just here. I'll show you in a bit closer, over swords. This is a traditional Highland dance thing. It's amazing to be part of a culture in a sense where people would have done this as this is representative of some sort of historical thing. Now, I would like to know more about this myself actually, because I don't know very much about it. But there you have it. That's what some of the things that they do. And right now on this chart, you know, there's a bit of the old Highland dance going on there around that sword. Is obviously a fairly significant point there. And as you can see, it's not worked out so well so far. So that's what we've had. I'm still absolutely positive on this one. Blah 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 blah. This is the natural oscillations that you see in charts, and it's to be expected. Rock Outcrop, you did a great job yesterday, and today take it easy with commentary and working, and feel free to just flick on charts people ask for and look for GME, AMC, and BTC charts. Lots and lots and lots of. All right, I see what you're meaning. Oh, brilliant. Okay, cool. Here's the AMC chart. I'm going to make a cup of tea. I'll bring up some music. I'm going to make a cup of tea. Back in a minute. Wow, took me so long to make a cup of tea there because I put too much water in the kettle to boil it, which was annoying me for the first like minute that I was away. And then I made the cup of tea, and there was a freaking fly in the cup. Tiny little fly had gone in there. So I was like, all right, and I just chucked it out and made a new cup of tea, so that was all right. Turns out it was worth it in the end. What's happening there? Oh, there's people chat. Rocky, those who don't do recommend checking out Rocky, I'll be asking them why not. Yeah. Let's go over to the chat here and see what people are saying. Oh, sorry. I'm just opening up my own trading accounts in the background because might as well. I can do that if I want to. Just don't want to accidentally bring it up on screen. I have done in the past. Well, not. Obviously, not all of them. Could be doing better today in my own account than I would have liked it than I am. I suppose, in effect. Not doing badly. Some things have changed. Still. Wonder when they're going to bring back Evergrande. It's annoying me. Wonder if there's any Evergrande news, actually. So they suspended trading on it. I'm not actually sure what's going to happen with that. FT. Go away, FT. There's the charts again. Nice little move there. Where's my chit chat here? Chit chat screen. I want to see the chit chat screen. There's chit chat there. I can change this to live chat. See it a bit better. Yeah, Evergrande is paying local department and screwing national debt. Yeah, are you Jimmy? Did you actually order a big antenna? I was going to do that, but I hadn't done it yet. Let's just see what the chat's going on in there. You did a great job. Thanks so much for that. By the way, I can also put these messages up on chat here. Leave the charts up and do this way. Oh, the AMC gap just closed, I think. Rocky Outcrop. Is that what happened in there as well? Oh right, is that what? Oh yeah, this was just in here. That's what that was happening. That's right. Good spot. Good spot, Maria. Good spot, Maria. Excellent stuff. Where's my comments thing though? Let me get that up. Did I put that one up on screen? I think I did. Rocky Outcrop. That's me. It's not. Great. Yeah, totally. That's a good point there. Yeah, that would be one thing if it was possible. It's not quite so easy. Ordering big antenna for radio. Want to see if it works. Yeah, the radio would be cool. What else are people talking about? Yo, Andy. Rocky Outcrop doing report review was heroic. Thanks so much, Adele. Crawling through the pile of SEC asswipe notes. Thanks so much for that. Andy giving Jimmy a hi. Jiu-Jitsu guy, not quite yet. Very close though. Oh, was that the gap chat? Yep, Tradespawn, gotta keep the pitchforks at bay. Gotta keep them pitchforks at bay, yo. Awesome. Right, so what were you saying though about the review there earlier on? Jimmy was talking about that. Don't know why all the other messages aren't on that thing. Tradespawn, including every friend list of the YouTuber. Let's see here. Let's see. Good man, Rocky Outcrop. Instead of a contrived YouTube bot man, absolutely chill cup of tea time. Thanks very much. And what Rage said, it really is tea time. Good idea. Yeah, tea time with Rocky. Tea time with Rocky. No tea that's fine, have coffee. It's tea time with Rocky. No tea that's fine, have coffee. Hi-Fi had a good take on the SEC report. Really? Did he? What did he say about it? Did they read the whole thing? I read the whole thing. Wonder what it is, maybe. Let me know. Oh, pretty similar to Rocky. I'm just reading through it now at the time. Obviously, I'm catching up on old chat. There's me thinking it was live for a second. Right, yeah. Of course you're going... Right. Did anybody see any people's take on the SEC report? Yeah, Pi had a good take on the SEC report. Says, newbie... those who do and don't recommend checking out Rocky, I'll be asking them why not. Yeah, newbie's pretty similar to Rocky and you, including every friendly YouTuber I know. Trace1, I guess the main takeaway is that the shorts didn't cover and that's about it. Well, not really, actually. That's not what the document says. That's just a nice interpretation of it. That's just a nice way to turn it into like a cliche pretty quick, or to use a cliche. The document does not say that the shorts didn't cover. Categorically does not say that. In fact, it says that the shorts covering didn't move the prices. And if you want to know what this document says, like we talked about last night, and it's nice, it's easy, and I myself summarized it. Apple's right. I summarized it that way. The shorts didn't cover buy and hodl. Actually, what the document says is that while the shorts were covering, they themselves were not responsible for the price movements. In fact, that was retail, which I think is funny. And the way that they wrote about it was that they said that the sharp price movements happens in very discrete periods of time, and stuff like that. And they based their proposition about it not being covering shorts as well at times by talking about by saying that it was the options chain at the time and just looking at what the options were being bought and sold during that period. When of course you could have obviously had stuff from the past which was then, you know, being covered during that period or whatever. But anyway, just so it's clear, the document doesn't say that the shorts didn't cover. I think it's okay if you do in a 4.5 hour summary and talk about it in extreme detail to go back the next day and say the shorts didn't cover, right? I think that's okay to do what I did. I don't think it's okay to not do the thorough review of the thing and then come back and say, or to do it off camera and then to come back and say to people who haven't read the thing that in your that your takeaway from it is simply that the shorts didn't cover. I'm not talking to you, Apple, by the way. Don't be one of these people that gets offended when I'm talking clearly about other people in the world. If anybody's doing that in the world, then obviously they didn't know about it. They didn't read the thing because it doesn't say that. And big questions on if covering shorts didn't cause January, what happened to shorts? But Rocky actually did the review. Nobody else did. That's right. And I reckon most of these 900k accounts from Jan are still in. Funny how Rocky mentions Gap, says it will likely be filled. Trace1, I didn't watch the entire show, but what I saw was the stuff was really helpful. This ish isn't the easiest stuff to comprehend. Oh no, it's totally not. But prices going the other way, so questions come in like why and how and when. Yeah, Rocky did a stellar job breaking everything down. I just wish he got more rest. Thanks so much, Banana Fridge. I'm my own worst enemy on that front. I am. Then he makes a cup of tea and prices go to Gap. That's nice. Oh, that was what happened there. Oh, that's what Mario was meaning as well, and that's what happened. Oh, that's nice. Oh God, so I mean, sometimes you see, I just tell you honestly, I don't make up contrived opinions, you know, or anything like that. I just tell you, oh, this is what's going to happen, and then I go away and I come back and stuff's happened, and it fits my view, you know. So all I see is what I expected to see. And the thing having happened that I said was going to happen, the fact that happened, what I said was going to happen, tends not to have a big impact on me. That's you know, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. See, you're still chatting in there. I would be looking at my other screen for the chat, by the way, but it doesn't seem to have it all the time, or enough of it. Doesn't seem to have enough of it all the time. What's you saying, Apple Blossom? I would like to make it clear that I was not referring to Rocky. Oh, good. I would like to make it clear, Apple, that I was not referring to you, or something like that. Hey. Thank you, Rocky. You're welcome. Shorts are a terrible idea, given the risk. Kitty, wash hands. Okay, good. There you go. Well, that's an emoji thing then when it says it like that. Oh, yeah, silly me. I might have one, Kitty. I have no idea. Chat going on in there. Oh, Reddit's takeaway. Ah, right. We're talking about Reddit's takeaway over there. Cool. So it was a big deal. It's a big deal document. I think a lot of people put a lot of effort into it, you know, and they thought it was better than it actually was. The guys that wrote it, in a sense, you know, like I think that they, you know, I think that they can be really proud of what they did, and I think that they should be really proud of what they did, and I think that and they should also be honest about not being experts beyond the job that they have to do at any times. Like the staff that we're looking into are just staff. They're just human beings, you know? They're just human beings. They're not like me. They're not aliens from space who occupy a human body just to not put anybody off so that you can interface with me accurately as I give you amazing life-changing information. They're just mere mortal human beings. Wen Ambo, good question. Good question, actually. The reason I say good question is because there was road surfacing going on outside, and I think the ambulances might not be able to drive up one side of the road here, so they're choosing a different route today. Maybe, I don't know. And if it's happened and it's happened a whole bunch and I've not heard it, just goes. This shows you how deaf I am to them after all this time here. Right, brilliant. How did AHT get on? Oh, God. Right. I imagine it's what parents must feel when their baby poops the nappy. They're like, ah, you know, it's not. I'm not actually annoyed with AHT for doing what's doing at the minute. I'm not annoyed at it for just having all these bodily functions or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, ah, come on. 5-minute time frame. Looking back down the way here, you can see that again we're asking that question. Back here, 13:41, a minute and 7 seconds left on it. Are we going to go ever so slightly lower? This time, if we do go lower, you can see that we've got big bullish divergence on the go on this thing here. We've got it anyway. I mean, it's all here anyway. We're looking for this to have the turnaround. So are all the oscillators. So's the entire markets. And if it doesn't, then I'd imagine that there'd be a liquidity surge in terms of downside price action on it that would push it down towards that sort of where like this line here. So it pushed it down towards one of these regions there, the lower 13s, etc. So, you know, the significance here of looking and saying, well, we want it to be 3 cents higher and stuff is real, because we don't want to be going down because these dynamics here are what can lead to it moving a lot more than just 3 or 4 cents. You can see we are a couple of cents shy right here, 1340. So it's, you know, it is slightly lower than the previous one, and that's obviously not good. So, you know, let's wait and see how the not good outcome comes from that. I mean, you can obviously trade all of this stuff. The risk management's all exactly the same in here. Not ordered antenna yet. Which one to get, Rocky Outcrop? Good question. I would look here now on the stream, but I don't know. Well, I can look at that, I suppose, after the show. I'll look at antenna. I don't know. I actually don't know. Do people out there know? Would a bigger antenna actually make the difference? Would it make the difference, or is the building going to definitely stop it no matter what size the antenna? Maybe there's a radio. I mean, if electric engineer or somebody was here, there's engineers in the chat. I know that there's people that would be able to answer this question fairly well, I think. Sweet dreams, Kieran. Oh, it's Kieran's way off. I mean, it's Australia over there, by the way, if people are wondering. It's Australia over there. It's a different time zone over there in Australia. By my place, there's frequently Ambo helicopters. Ambo helicopters at your place. That's an upgrade. When you're doing an interview with Eric Crown, TradeSpot asks. Good question. He's a good guy to do an interview with. Should ask him, shouldn't I? I'll have to get in touch with him. I've been so slow with all of that. So slow with all of that. It'd be nice to get people on to do things. I wrote to Scott Carney, by the way, a couple of times. He didn't get back to me. Antenna would be unobstructed to give better range. Yeah, exactly. I've got a building opposite. It's just that and my antenna is this little tiny wee antenna. If I had a bigger antenna, but the building was still there, would that be good? Are you talking which one are you talking about there, Kitty Babes? Carney or Crown? Probably Crown. Would a bigger aerial get it past the building opposite, or would it still be obstructed? You know, and it feels like it would maybe still be obstructed. I just don't know. A bigger aerial maybe somehow it's more powerful and the radio signals bounce off the buildings and makes it down the street anyway. I'm looking to get a radio signal to go half a mile, and the radio signal itself could go it could easily go a couple of miles with the setup that I have, but there's things blocking it in between. There's a corridor for the radio signal to go down between buildings, except and it works the whole way along there. It would do for a whole mile, but as soon as I go off course by about 50 meters, it stops working. And the question is, would a bigger aerial solve that or not? I don't know. Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So this negative price action happened so far. I'm still positive on this thing. Gosh damn it! What can I say? So hard for it is. I have to admit that I'm a human being as well. I have to try and proactively decide at which point are my own. Damn it! I just admitted I was a human being as well after telling people I was an alien. Ah well, you can find out I'm a liar. So yeah, I want it to be. I want these things to turn around as well, you know, or whatever. I'm looking at it and I'm wanting it to happen, you know. I have to be aware of my own perceptions and my own emotions, etc., and interfering. Even though I'm sat here talking about the way to be a trader, etc., it's not something that happens intuitively for me. It's something that happens consciously. So I'll look at it and I'm like, I want it to turn around, and I still want it to. Looking at this, low, higher, low, lower, low. It's like dipping its toes in here a wee bit as well. It's like Scott Carney, talking about him, if that's who you were. I don't know. If that's what you're talking about, he would be looking at this and saying that there ain't no harmonic on here because there isn't. 100% retraces 1, 2, 3 of them. You're going to have to look somewhere else for your kind of the analysis on that front. This of course could be like a feature of like a harmonic pause on a bigger time frame, blah blah blah. But we're beyond that sort of thing. We've talked about all the movements that happened on the way to bring us down here. Anyway, whatever. EJH. Still in this little range that it's been in, bud. Hasn't moved at all today, really. Within the next couple of cents movement of it, 301, I am looking for this to get movement up the way. I am. See how it's like somebody's come along and given it and cut its fringe there, hasn't it? The way that it goes with that flat line. Is there any reason you need walkie-talkies? No, it's just that he doesn't have to call. It just gives me a little buzz. He can be like, your thing's wrong. And I'd be like, oh, right. And I can hear it coming through without having to pick up. The reason people use walkie-talkies and that. It's the obstruction that's the problem, Donnelly. Yes, works great until he turns the corner to go into his flat. Antenna for walkie-talkie, that is. That's right. His street is preferred route for ambos. That's right as well. Thanks so much. Space Monkey, I'm not really sure. He's mentioned several times that they're not in an emergency. It's dangerous, and the sirens are an extremely high decibel that cause permanent ear damage. Yeah, it's really frustrating. At the same time, we know from people like the jiu-jitsu guy here, who drives a fire engine, that you might not be insured. So if anything were to happen, like you to hit into a car or a person, which can so often happen when people are crossing the road at this really busy pedestrian area too, that you wouldn't be insured if you didn't have your siren on. So it's one of these kind of maybe partly like involved in a stupid rule thing. I kind of also feel like the ambulance drivers themselves are a little bit obnoxious on it, but whatever. Rocket Outcrop, you're good. You can do the reverse roll call now and take it easy. Cheers, man. With thanks so much. With a walkie, I can talk. He doesn't need to answer. Also, I can use the breaker with codes so as to not distract him with his flow. Yeah, exactly. That would be cool for both of us, both ways. That's one of the things we'd like. Jules Maxwell, in America at least, the siren doesn't change the red light. It's something called an opticom. That's essentially a strobe light. I'm a paramedic too. Check it out. What a great guy Ghost of Jiu-Jitsu is, by the way. What a great guy. I feel like he's the really great guy, and the ones outside are personally trying to annoy me. But of course, that's because I'm an egomaniac. Right. Egomaniac on with the Egomaniac show. So let's just check in with our pal GME and see how it's been getting on after its nice rise today. All the way up to there, back down again. Oh, it was the gap on GME that Maria and that we're talking about, and we just did it. Thanks so much for keeping me informed. I'm so stupid. Thank you so much for keeping me informed. I'm so stupid. As I tune back in to see, well, this is us here at this point, and it's the reaction of how you react once you've filled it in. We're a little bit beyond it. Okay. Let's give it a second to have that reaction. Getting follow through at this point, not ideal. Bum up the way there, and obviously divergent at that point. Could push down a little bit more if that were the case. Nah. Like this is nah. What am I saying? Nah. This is done. It's what it's got to do, right? It's done what it's got to do. It's done what it's got to do, which is nice that it's done that now, so we can be happy that it's done it. Because it had to do that. Okay, it just really had to. Then the recovery at that point wasn't quite enough. Sure. Back to the 236. Let's establish this again and move up the way. And let's that was the 1618. Did we get the 1618? Did we get 193? We didn't quite get the 1618, did we? We didn't quite get it. We just got the 1414. Ah well. Oh yeah, sorry, I wasn't very clear there. I didn't speak when I was doing it. I just removed that other line from here where that 236 was before. There's a 236 that isn't, the one that's drawn in from our current high. Where we were looking at before was where that 236 was at, and that's where that significant line was, which was operating as a sort of pivot before. Now obviously this is where the high is, and this pivot that was at before is now below where the 236 is, and that's the little dynamic there as to what I was looking at with can we recover. The 236 is right at where the gap is, so all roads lead to Rome essentially. If we can take out that gap again, and go above that, and it's the reaction when you hit the gap that you're looking at. This is obviously a bit of flux. It's not ideal. It's taken us down to a pivot that we had in the past, which was controlling the which was significant in the past and whatever. It's taking us back down there to retest that area, pushing us beyond the current one, and hopefully we can inflect and come back up the way. But the fact is we're below it some, so it's you've got to acknowledge where you are. So we're coming back up at the minute, and the question is obviously then, do we actually take out that gap area? And that's shown with both the blue line and the gap itself on the charts being visible. The gap itself and both that blue line showing where you'd need to see the prices going up above in the heres and nows. When that happens, then what you're looking at is oh wow, that felt like carpal tunnel syndrome. Ow. What? Ow. What? Ow. Must have been reading that meme earlier on, when your elbow hits the softwood cart. Got me feeling like it. Yeah, so, and then the 236 with this movement down the way, it's the same thing. It's all, all roads lead to Rome. The current pivot on the market, $186. We're at 185. Not a problem being here. Super happy to be here. I think everybody really more or less is. If there is to be pullbacks beyond this zone, because this zone here where we're getting this inflection right now is the area to look to. Then where would we be concerned about? and the 382 comes in as a higher low target, and that would be 182.25. I'm not going to say 182.25 is your best buy on the day, because until such times as we're actually really on the way there, it's not, you know, until such times as we're really, as we fail again. I mean, the best buy, the price of the day, could be anywhere below this 236 line, where we are right now, and you'd have to manage it. It depends on what way you look at it. There's semantics on those sentences are far too heavy. They're far too leading. Last two big volume on 30 minutes have led to decent retracements. Yeah. I bet you think this song is about you. Good on you doing that job, Jew. You're a good man. GME went to my line exactly again. Supplies. Trace one, I can't imagine not pulling over for an ambo. I think we'd get a fine. Do people here say, I used to think the ambo service was really rude, playing the siren so loud, then I realised that it's the Scottish drivers are irresponsible. They have to play it when angry loud, so people move out of the way. Yeah, so there's that as well. Like the Scottish people around, the pedestrians that walk in front of an ambulance, I just think that's rude. I think that's like ironic and rude to do that on the road. I almost feel like the ambulance should hit them and call for a different ambulance to come and get them and just keep driving. Although that's actually not true. That's not true at all in any way, because I've seen so much living on this street. I've seen so much living on the street that I live on that I wouldn't wish that on anybody at all. I've seen several people, road accident victims out there. I really wouldn't wish that on anybody. So I take that back. I felt bad for saying that. Personally, I'm not happy to be here, Rocket Crop. I'd like to be at 157 so I can buy some more. Hey, good point. Good point. Maybe we'll get some negativity then, eh? Let's try it. Let's go over to gmemeltdown.com and give them a bunch of reasons or whatever. I'd find it very hard to keep doing if I was making money doing anything else. I'd find it very hard to keep doing it if I was making money doing anything else. Yeah, exactly. It's hard. Wait, what did Jiu-Jitsu say? I don't think I'll be doing it much longer. My state is making it a lot less enjoyable than it used to be. Oh, that sucks. Illinois, right? The state of Illinois. We've lost 30% of our staff due to vaccine mandate. Whoa, that's hard. That's a lot. That's a conservative number. Well, it's even worse than that. Cheapers creepers. Why need a fancy antenna for a walkie-talkie? Don't you have those other kind that use a frequency and power that is good for 20 miles and more like Motorola T2000 TP? Like a ham radio. You need to have a license to use a ham radio. So that's a thing. I don't know if that's the state, if that's the way it is in the USA, but it's the way it is over here. I mean, maybe it's free to get one and everything else. So we didn't really look into it in that sense. I think that's what you're talking about there. I think that's what you're talking about. I'm not 100% sure. Right, cool. Oh, by the way, Apple and all the rest of it, when it is an emergency out there, it's different. You wouldn't hear it hanging around out there with the siren on for a minute in those emergency things. Wen Ambo. That was classic, not emergency Wen ambulance that just happened there now. What happened is it went wee whip, wee 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 whip, and it was trying to get people out of the way as it started moving off and whatever. And it's that sort of a thing. Whenever it's an emergency, you hear it coming because the streets, the acoustics and whatever as well, and you can hear it coming. And you hear it very, very quiet in the distance, and then it's coming along. The speed limit outside is 20 miles an hour, and ambulances and fire engines and everything else are actually obliged in this country to obey the rules of the road, just like any other driver. Of course, they don't, but technically speaking, they're supposed to get points on their license when they go through a red light. They're supposed to stick to the speed limit. They're supposed to do all these things. But of course they don't, right? Because they've got somebody in an emergency situation in the back of their van and they've been doing this for years and they're not driving at 20 miles an hour. They're driving at 40, right? Or 30. So you see them coming, you hear them coming, it's a bit faster, and it's a different sound outside, and you can tell the emergency ones. Now, if that comes all the way up here and then stops that or whatever, then you can kind of tell it's slightly different. I don't know, maybe it's just me being strange, but you can tell because they drive on the wrong side of the road and all sorts of stuff, and people do move for them. It's just a difference. Had to leave for a bit, Rocket Crop. You give us so much, we're not worthy. Corey, you're so nice. Thanks so much for that, mate. Brady Pearl, you know how we give the infants the polio vaccine, yeah? The whole state is insanely corrupt, says Duo. Speak of the Ambo and it shall appear. Yes, indeed. Or is it toddlers? I think it's you get it a couple of times. You get a booster shot, man, for that one. Or yeah, I think you get a booster. I think you get a booster shot for that one. Anyway, nice one. We're back up above the 236 here. We're back at that line. Remember before I had two Fibonacci's on the chart here, and they lined up next to each other. It's just this, they were both 236s, and just both of these would be make it valid. Then that's where we are right now, right in this very second of time. As you can see, as I just demonstrate that for you with the Fibonacci itself. So you can see that's the dynamic that we're at right now. So there's this little bit, and in this zone, the only ones who know where the money, we all know what's happening. Ghost of Dan Ernst, Dapple Blossom. You know how you find a corrupt cop? Just pick up the phone and call a police station. Doesn't really matter who answers. I have a massive respect for people who do anything in public service to help people. Massive amounts of respect for them. I also hate the police. The ghost of that jiu-jitsu guy at Apple Blossom is not the corrupt ones that are quitting though. Exactly. That's the problem. When we make people feel bad for being policemen, then the good ones don't want to do it. In England recently, very recently, there was a very unlucky girl was arrested by a police officer at nighttime falsely. He then took her in his car and brutally raped and murdered her. And this happened in the UK. It's a policeman that did it. And it's just so awful. Anyway, that guy will never get out of prison in this country for that. He'll never be released. He's going to die in prison because he did that, and rightfully so. People like that make it awfully hard for good people who want to be doing good stuff to get involved in it when they see it's like that. I think we need to celebrate the good work that people do as well. So what we just did there now for people of interest is we just came up and touched off the top end of that gap. So now that's pretty good. If we see a little retrace back down at this point down to where we had that second 236, it'd be absolutely not a surprise. However, that would also be coming back down in the gap. So we're actually in the gap territory at the minute, and we don't want to be consolidating in the gap. We don't want to be consolidating and then failing at the gap, you know, because that would be confirmation at the minute in a sense that you'd be looking for that 182 entry on the day. So we don't want that to happen. Instead, we're looking for this to get that continuation. But of course, you know, if we do consolidate in here, that's okay if we boost on. But if we consolidate in here and then drop down the way, that's not so great in that sense. If my wife didn't have such a good career here, we would have left 2 years ago. Oh, that's cool that your wife's got a good career though, and that Illinois is not so bad for some things. There's plenty of good police officers. It's the culture that needs to facelift. That's right. I think in Western countries, we need that, but maybe it's probably the same all around the world. You know, it's probably the same all around the world. KT says there's 9.3 kHz radios, and at certain wattage, a license is needed. Half watt and below, none at all. Ah, man, is that how it works? So I just have to turn the wattage down so it only goes so far, and the signal works but only goes so far. Is that how it works? My God, I didn't know that, but it makes a lot of sense. I'm not sure if that's the rules here. You might need a license just to have one, you know, as opposed to what you do with it. It all depends. Like, there's nuances to rules and laws and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, just pop back down below here. We didn't actually spend any time consolidating in there. Oh no, we just wait a minute. Oh, we just gapped there, did we? That's interesting. It's not a gap. We just moved up with, but there's the wick on the left that I would say doesn't constitute a gap. The 1 minute time frame were between the body of the previous one, so there is no gap on there. But it's a nice little interesting thing that consistently happens on GME because it's not got that many shares to be traded so that it can be hit with high frequency trading. You know, so like it's harder to hit this thing with the HTFs than it is other stocks, which means that there's less of that kind of precise liquidity, making the charts look perfectly lovely. Some channels are low watt on the radio and some are high, at least with the Motorola. All right. Yeah, really bad, isn't it? What happened there? She was Sarah Everard. She was Sarah Everard, and it should never have happened. And it's very difficult to stop hating the police when you see stuff like that happening. I do have a massive respect for people that put themselves on the line in public service, and you know, and I have massive respect for them. I mean, I love a lot of the TV shows about police and stuff like that, where they're doing the good stuff and everything. It's great. Have you ever watched the UK television shows about police? Though they're quite open about the corruption in the police. here, or they have been recently. That's the rules here in the States. Maybe UK's more strict. I don't know, man. I know that there are restrictive things. I mean, there's various ones of them. Over the last decade, various radio bandwidths have been released out to the public, which actually it was illegal to use at all. Never mind having a license. They were restricted. So many of them. So, for instance, I wanted to set up a company that would stream HDMI signal radio wave from the output or the coaxial aerial wave in your house to a receiver, and that's illegal in this country. You're just not allowed to do that because of the bandwidths that it used. And then they changed the rules about that a few years ago to make it so that it was possible. Why? Because technology coming across from the States, etc., and other countries in the world, and China, and the proliferation of these things has just made it so that it's just policing it's far too hard. And in reality, the military and whatnot don't really need that all the time in that way. There's other things that they've got for emergency channels, etc. So they don't use that bandwidth anymore like they used to. But these sorts of things happen a lot. Right, anyway, done with this, done with that, done with everything. Thanks so much for tuning in. Going to do the reverse roll call. It's been a fantastic show so far today. If anybody wants me to do look at any charts or anything like that, then I guess that would be it. That would be it. That would be it for that. So people chatting, Apple Blossom Truth. Look at Space Monkey's avatar, by the way. It's kind of hard to see it when you're just like looking at the screen. Look at that. Look at that. Who is that? I wonder. Interesting stuff. Here's banana fridges. As you can see, is bananas inside a fridge. Lovely. Truly awful, says banana fridge. Absolutely is. Might read the manual now you say that, KT. Interesting stuff as well. Might read the manual now you say that. Could be changing things. Cool. Thanks for discussing. This is cool, isn't it? Me and Jamie love radios. The thing is, Jamie and I used to have radio walkie-talkies when we were kids, really big proper ones that seemed to go for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. We talked to people occasionally on them, go at what felt like the middle of the night for us, probably just the evening time, take out the aerial and talk to people that seemed to be to us so very, 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 very far away. Just random people on this radio for fun as kids. They must have thought it was a good laugh, I suppose, or else very annoying if they're trying to work. I don't know. So it brings back a lot of memories for us, and we used to use them at supermarkets and stuff like that. So there's a load of reasons. I mean, there's obviously all the good reasons why a radio is good, and then you combine that with the fact that we're a couple of brothers that have got memories of doing this stuff as kids. You know, that's the reality of it. Many policemen were bullied in school and now enjoy to establish dominance. That's true, but there's also as well. A lot of them, it's a gang. It's like any other gang. I mean, a lot of policemen themselves will tell you that they were always going to join a gang anyway. It's just what gang did they join? They joined the blue gang, you know. So there's that as well. I also know people who've been that are currently ongoing. I know somebody who's got an ongoing national level interest case of sexual harassment in the police force that's been reported at national level. I know them personally right now. A female that's been that was treated very, 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 very badly by the males inside the organization. So beyond all these other things we're talking about, it's also a very machismo world, and we're not in a very negative way for a lot of people. One day she's going to get a big payout, but she's having to do all the work herself, and it's on the national news and everything. All right, Trace1, I am DMing you the Motorola comment someone made explaining that now. Thanks, KT. Katie Babes, KT, Trace1, thank you very much for tuning in. Rarefied Tennis, great name, always liked it. Oh there, Frog Lord, Geo Maxwell, Ghost of That Jiu-Jitsu Guy, thank you as well for tuning in. Banana Fridge, and as I go through this, I like all your names. I like all your names, you know. Apple Blossom, Geo Dink, thanks so much for tuning in. Brady Pearl, great guy, good musician. Dave Leib, thanks for tuning in as well. I never really quite got a handle on pronouncing your name properly, I don't think. But anyway, E. Donnelly, thanks for tuning in as well. D. Harker, you're a great guy. I really appreciate you being here as well today. And let's see, is that all the names I've got? That's all the different names I've got access to on that list just there. Few that got missed out though that shouldn't be. Got KP, Alex Freeman, Newbie, Seahill, Inichiro, and many others who've been a part of the show today as ever. Mr. Pickles, for example, as well in there. Thank you so much. And then to all of you who sent through any donations or any of that. Thank you so much as well. Let me just check and see here what we have. Yep, thanks so much. 2 hours ago, Dan, thanks for that $5. No message with it. Z, thanks so much. 690, good number. Thanks to the late night stream, buddy. You're so welcome, Z. Thanks so much as well. Texas Tanker, yeah, thanks so much for that as well with the with EJH. We did that. That was appreciated. I hope that helped you a little bit with the analysis. Did about 10 minutes on it. I hope it was all right. Corey Bingbong, I mean, I'm sure it was, right? That's the thing. Corey Bingbong tipped 333. Tell him about the amazing coverage of the SEC report you did yesterday. For those who don't know, you rock, Rocky. Well, yes, thank you so much for everybody who tuned in today. Now, for those of you who don't know, we did a show last night going through that SEC report. If you want to know what it is and you want to read it, it's a 46-page document. It might take you an hour or two to read it on your own. You can spend maybe even 2 or 3 hours. I don't know. It depends on how fast you read and how much stuff you need to look up and try and understand. We go through it together. It takes us 4 hours to go through it. We did it on stream last night. We explain everything along the way, have our reactions along the way, chatting with people and discussing it as it goes, and as well, you know, coming up with their own conclusions at the end of all of that. So that's a good one. It's worth watching. Some people really loved it, like Stefan. Shout out to him. It's good to provide different type of content from time to time. That's what I was talking about before with the earnings calls and the like that we do. You know, you see as well that I've got a fairly unique narrative when it comes to all of this stuff. And like, while people will say that Pi-Fi's reaction is more or less the same to yours, etc., I really don't see content that's in any way, in my opinion, similar to the type of content that I produce. I really just don't see it anywhere. You know, things, and I think that my perspective is always fairly unique. Like, for instance, with my, which I think is fairly unique perspective on the earnings calls that happened last time, and the way that other people view those earnings calls, and you can see it's chatted out there in the world. And I do actually influence the public zeitgeist with this, with regards to this. So I'm actually responsible for quite a lot of the positivity that exists out there with regards to really everything that goes on with this whole movement, because I have my unique perspective. And while it is, of course, laden with skepticism and healthy cynicism at times, as it should be in the world that we live in, I think it's appropriate. It's also fundamentally exceedingly positive, and I am a great believer in the fantastic work that's going on at numerous amazing companies around the world. Namely, GME is being at the top of that list, but there's not the only one, and massively other companies, and I hope to see things do very well. And we're hoping to see female CEO companies like AMD and EVGO do really well as well in the next wee while. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. My name's been Rocky Outcrop. It will still be Rocky Outcrop when I come back tomorrow, so be sure to share that one with your friends. youtube.com/c/Rocky Outcrop. Join the Discord, head over to Patreon to do so, https://patreon.com/Rocky Outcrop. That's patreon.com/Rocky Outcrop, and you'll get access over there. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in as ever. And D Harker, that's really generous of you. I didn't expect that. It's really generous of you. Thank you so much for donating $42 there at the end. It's amazing, man. Thanks so much. That's incredible. You just donated more than anybody else donated combined, running up to there at the end. It's really nice of you, man. Really, the generosity amongst all of you is always humbling massively. So back again tomorrow for some more of the greatest stuff ever. You're my favorite people, all my sisters and my brothers, all my favorite colors. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again tomorrow. Much love. Stay awesome.